Hi, my name is Tazeen Hassan, and today I'm going to run you guys through the concept of quality function deployment. Dr. Yuji Naka, one of the founders of QFD, once famously said, "Time was when a man could order a pair of shoes directly from the cobbler. By measuring the foot himself and personally handling all aspects of manufacturing, the cobbler could assure the customer would be satisfied." This essentially formed the basis of the concept we now know as QFD. So what is QFD? It is essentially a structured approach to defining customer needs or requirements and translating them into specific plans to produce products to meet those needs. The voice of the customer is an important concept in QFD. It aims to describe those stated and unstated customer needs or requirements. QFD provides a system of comprehensive development process for a number of things, ranging from understanding true customer needs from the customer's perspective, determining what level of performance to deliver, understanding how customers or end users become interested and choose their products, and then also understanding what value means to the customer from the customer's perspective. Now let's look at an example of quality function deployment. The example I chose today was that of a remote control. In front of you is a well-structured example of quality function deployment. On your left side, you see these rows which explain customer requirements ranging from the remote control being easy to hold, being easy to see and find, buttons easy to use, being attractive, or having multifunctioning buttons. These are essentially what the customer thinks are important in a product, the product being the remote control in this example. Now each of these requirements are ranked with a rank from 1 to 6 with the relative importance they have to the customer. So you can see that multifunctioning buttons hold the highest importance, which are then given the rank of 1. And then the remote control being easy to find is not of that much importance, which is why it's given the lowest rank. So along the top of the central matrix, we see that listed in columns are the product attributes or the technical attributes of the product. Now these are ways in which the product can meet the customer requirements. So these range from being in the size of the buttons, the color of the remote control, the number of buttons on the remote control, the color of the buttons, etc. Now let's look at the actual central matrix, which is this part right here. Now this basically shows the relationship between the technical requirements and the customer requirements. To give you a better understanding of this, we see that buttons easy to see have a strong positive correlation with the size of the buttons. We identify this symbol with the help of the key to the right hand side of the chart. Each relationship also has a numerical rating ranging from 1 to 9. Small relationships are given the value of 1, medium relationships are given the value of 3, and then the strongest relationships are given the value of 9. Now let's look at the bottom row, which is weightage. So each of the symbols in the central column and the values assigned to them are then summed and each column's total is given. So here we can see that the dimensions of the remote control as a technical attribute hold the most importance, which is why they're given the highest weightage, followed by the size of the buttons, the color of the remote control, the color of the buttons, and then the number of buttons and the button press mechanism has tied at 9. So now we look at the roof of the matrix. So the roof of the house shows the correlation among the technical attributes. For example, the dimensions of the remote control have a strong positive correlation with the size of the buttons and number of buttons, while the size of the buttons has a strong negative correlation with the number of buttons. It is important to follow the key here, which is how you're going to identify the relationship and the strength of the relationship between each of the technical attributes. The numerical or qualitative description shown in the basement of the house are the target values. So these are basically design target sets for the technical attributes. So one of the design targets for the technical attributes is that the dimension of the remote control should be by 6 by 18 by 2. Now let's look at the last row of the system, which is that of technical evaluations. Now the graph in the sub-mixment compares the company, which is us, against two of its competitors, A and B. Now if we look at the graph of us as compared to that of our competitors, we see that the company does relatively poorly on the attributes of the dimensions of the remote control as well as the color of the buttons. But it does well when it comes to the return mechanism because the graph is higher than that of our competitors A and B. Lastly, the graph on the right rates the company and competitors on terms of customer requirements. Now these ratings are based on customer surveys. For example, customers think that the company does worse in terms of the remote control buttons being easy to see, but best in terms of the remote control buttons being easy to hold. A more thorough explanation of this example is given in the last two slides of the presentation. And this concludes my presentation. Hope it helped some of you out there. Thank you.